This is the inaugural Read Me Like a Book podcast episode, and I am excited to welcome my first two guests for the show. And so let me just introduce them really quickly. These are two people that I have known for a very long time, that I have talked about books, exchanged books, read the same books with, sometimes, in some cases, bought the same book without knowing that the other person was buying it. So, let me first introduce Aditi Garg. And Aditi is a longtime friend of mine. We were just saying that it's been like 3 years, but it feels like a lot longer because we were talking every day for a long time while we were working on bringing to life a program called Future Shock through the Reinvention Lab at Teach for America. Yeah, I think I don't. What's the number of states that we have been in together? It's a lot.
At least six, and we're from the same state originally. So I feel like that
It's true.
counts
We were
spiritually, even though we were here at the same. Oh, we were here at the
There
same
were
time. We
times
just
that
didn't
we
know.
were both in the same state. We just did not know each
Yeah.
other. Right.
Yeah.
Um, Aditi, I'm going to ask you the question that I'm going to ask, I think, everyone that comes on this show. Uh, how did you discover your identity as a book person?
Yeah. It's funny because the prompt when you said it was like, how did you discover you're a reader or when you were a reader? And for a long time, I actually did not think of myself as a reader, someone who loves to read.
Mm,
I for school, I was super academic. I had an older brother who what I would describe as a reader, like sit in the bathroom for 3 hours and read forever, or like have to
mm,
go to get the like latest Harry Potter. And so in my head, I was like, that's a reader, and I'm just someone who reads. And then it wasn't
nice.
until after I started teaching and wanted like kind of an escape and deeper into storytelling in a way, probably in my early 20s, that I was like, oh, actually, I'm finding myself like wanting to get this next book,
Mm,
wanting to talk to other people about what I was reading, and then finding that as a connection point for like my mind about opinions or getting deeper into concepts that I was interested in. And so I feel like it really blossomed. And now I have the Goodreads receipts to prove that I'm indeed a reader. So
yeah, you do. Every time you tell me
yes.
your Goodreads challenge number is for a given year, I'm like floored. Cool.
We're
Thank
working
you.
through it. Lots to
Thank you.
read.
Cool. Okay. And our second guest, and this is fun because you two have not met each other prior to 10 minutes ago, is Tolu Agunbiade. And Tolu and I also go way back. Actually, even Tolu and I worked together in Mauritius at the African Leadership University. I was Tolu's day one at the African Leadership University. The first day that she showed up for work, she got thrown into a classroom with me running a small like reading group. And I think I just put you on the spot and made you like do stuff
You did.
immediately.
You did.
Yeah.
Went into
And
baptism by fire. I loved it.
yeah, and no matter what happens, we just seem to keep coming back together. I think we always want to find reasons to work on things and have projects, and one of these days we are going to get to play the fifth season role-playing game that we both backed on Kickstarter 5 years ago that
Did
still
you get
hasn't
the new
shipped.
update? Did you get the new
Yeah.
update about some
Oh,
bankruptcy and they have to print everything at the same? It is so ridiculous. We just keep on
Are
getting.
you involved in a scheme? Is this a
At
scheme?
this point, we think so, but
Is this like give me
I
money?
don't know. I doubt it. The person who we
Help me
backed
out of
doesn't
jail?
need our money, hopefully. I don't know what's happening. We don't know what's happening.
hello. How did you discover your identity as a book person?
I don't even know when it started, but it feels like it goes way back. But an instance I remember is when I was much younger. I want to say I was about 7, maybe. I had this neighbor who I'll walk around with her. We'll go to a library and she'll borrow a book. I wasn't old enough to borrow a book then. And so she'll borrow the books, but I'll tell her the ones I was interested in, and if she liked it, she'll pick those. And I'll beg her to please give me to read before she has to return it. And I found out that I was a fast reader then because she'll have about a week to return the book. it'll be on the sixth day that she'll come to me and give me the book. And I will speed
Mhm.
read the hell out of the book and I'll be ready before it's time to return it. And that's how I became a voracious reader through that because I really had to quickly
Nice.
read through those books. And that's one that sticks out as, oh, you're a reader. But then I also remember, fast forward to maybe 10, 12 years after, one of my first Instagram posts was me walking past some market in Lagos and they had books just like on the floor thrifting. And I took a picture of it. And one of my classmates in secondary school goes, "You haven't changed. You're still always around books." And I didn't even know that it was a thing that
Oh,
I did so much that people noticed. But at that point, I was like, oh, wait, this goes deep. I've just always been really into reading. So, yeah.
Love it. Thank you. That's awesome. Before we get into rules of the game, we can't do this kind of podcast without me asking, what are you guys reading lately?
I could go first.
I.
Oh, you could
You
go.
want to go first, Tolu? You go first. No.
So I was thinking there's the book I'm reading right now, and I'm not sure if I want to share it, but I would since I've already prefaced with this. And there's the book I just finished reading that I do really want to share. So I'll start with the one that I'm reading now so that you'll forget about it when I tell you the other one. But it's called Flesh, and it's by this guy called David Saleh. I think that's how you say his
It just
name.
won the Booker Prize.
He just won the Booker
It's
Prize
funny
for his
that
book.
I didn't know that. So I go for this theater thing in Toronto, in Ontario. It's called the Stratford Festival. And I was walking around a bookshop and I just got drawn to this book that was there. And I was like, oh, this seems interesting. I'd like to read it. And I put it on my Libby app and it just came due because they bought 100 new copies in the library. And I guess because it won the Booker Prize. And I just there reading
Yeah.
and next thing I see it won the Booker Prize. I'm like, okay, you know how to pick a winner. But the reason why I said is because it starts really strong really early on, and I'm like, it's the kind of book I wouldn't have wanted my mother to know I was reading, just because of how the themes it starts with. I wouldn't spoil it right now, but
Okay.
it's a nice, easy, at least it's easy to get into. I'm enjoying it so far. Literally started it and I haven't been able to put it down. So usually when I get a blub in time, I'll probably go on social media, but right now I go to the book to read it. So it is captivating. I'll recommend. But the book I do want to mention, there's this guy, Hanif Abdurraqib. He's a poet and a writer, and I adore his writing, like just adore. I want to own everything he has ever written, and I just want to be able to like recite it and say it. But the one I recently finished reading is They Can't Kill Us Until They Kill Us. And when I started reading, I thought, okay, it's a music review kind of book, but no, it has themes on race, on love, on friendship, on grief, on just so much. And it's so lyrical. It's fantastic. I 10 out of 10 recommend reading that book. Yeah. Aditi, what's yours?
Am I allowed
Wait.
to geek out?
Yes,
Yeah, I
a
was gonna
thousand
say
Hanif
percent,
is
I
one of
saw it
a
my
coming.
thousand percent, 1,000%. Let's do it.
Hanif Hanif Abdurraqib is like, I don't know, say this on a podcast. It's my first one. He's like my literary crush. When someone asked me recently on a work call, like, who would you invite to a dinner if you could have anyone in the world? And people were saying like presidents and stuff, and I was like, Hanif Abdurraqib. Much his work is amazing. He wrote this book last year. There's always this year, and it's like kind of Cavs in Cleveland and in Columbus, but it's kind of about all these other themes that you talked about. And he's like literally one of the only like famous people I've ever direct messaged on social media because I'm like, you're just amazing. Anyways, I'm so glad that this was the book you chose because yes,
The first
and he has so
person
many
to have
more.
ever mentioned or recommended him to me was Aditi.
Oh, nice. Nice. I actually, so after I read, so I got the book on Libby because that's where I end up going first. And as I was reading it, I'm like, no, I need to own this book. And so I start looking for a bookshop to go get it from. And I find that I think in 2024 or something, he came to Toronto and he went to a particular bookshop for his readings. And I went to that specific bookshop because I'm like, okay, he approves of you. I need to go here. And then I bought all the copies of all his books that they had in that bookshop because I'm like, yes, I need to own everything this man has written. But yeah, I should message him too and say, I really, really like your books. Yeah, that's cool.
He did not message back, but still great. Still great. Yes. Oh. He's also from Columbus, Ohio,
Yes.
which is why I told Seth. I was like, there are cool people from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
Hanif. So fun, so fun. I can go next. I was just Seth and I talked last week, and I had shared this book that I was at the beginning of, and now I finished, and I'm still really recommend it. It's an essay, a book of essays called "No Straight Road Takes You There: Essays for Uneven Terrain," and it's by Rebecca Soynet, I think. Essayist. She mostly writes about climate change, feminism, and democracy, but it's a bright yellow cover of this book, and it drew me in with the title. And the first essay is like a primer for her collection, and it's all about indirect action, especially in long-term movements and change. And so basically tracing, like, we're searching for this immediacy, especially when it comes to entrenched systems, but these are the ways in which our actions can trickle out, and taking a long view, but also holding like passion and critique is really important. And I just think for this moment, it was really like there was something really like peaceful about this, but also not backing away, that I thought was just grounding for me. It reminded me of like the Adrienne Marie Brown, like emergent strategy kind of around that. So that was really good. And I'm cheating, and I'm going to say a second one because Tolu said two too. And I finished Lost and Found, which was a memoir by Catherine Schultz. And it's short. It's basically split into two sections, and she's losing her father of illness, but she's also meeting her lifelong partner. And so it's just, how do you experience deep joy and deep loss at the same time? And just really lovely writing, honestly, like beautiful writing on that one. So it's been a good fall for books for me.
I'm definitely going to stalk your Goodreads page and just, use that as my recommendation for other things. But I've bookmarked
Yes.
both those books to read.
Yes.
And I'll put both of your Goodreads in the show notes, assuming that show notes are a thing that actually exists when I make this. I today picked up a book that I had pre-ordered. So I really love going into a bookstore and ordering books from a bookstore rather than ordering online. It's become like one of my favorite things to do. And I had pre-ordered a book in June, knowing that it was not going to release until October. And then it arrived the day before I was leaving for 3 weeks. And so I couldn't go pick it up. But the book is the third book of Dust, called The Rose Fields. So if you know the His Dark Materials series, which is a trilogy, there is then the follow-up trilogy, which is called The Book of Dust, which still revolves around like Lyra, except in the first book it takes place before His Dark Materials, and then the second two books take place after. And the second book in this series was one where I was completely taken with it. I couldn't do anything else for 3 days while I powered through this like 700-page book. And I will have like journals where I'm like trying to diagram out everything that's happening, because it's very like narratively complex, and love it so much. I really love that world. I got it. I read it on the train on the way home. I got 50 pages in. It's going to get some play. I can tell you that much. All right. I'm going to say a thing that I learned that's going to give us a PG-13 rating. The Australians have a phrase that's, "We're not here to fuck spiders," which means let's get down to business. I know, it's a thing.
But why spiders? What do spiders do to
I don't know.
them?
Listen, I don't know, but that is the phrase. So let's get down to business and let's play. We're here to play a game. And here's how the game works.
Let's play the game.
In just a moment, the two of you are going to be playing as a team. You are playing cooperatively. We are going to draw 10 cards of Read Me Like a Book. You'll get to see what those 10 cards are. Each one of the cards has a prompt on it that asks you to identify a book that you connect to personally for one reason or another. Okay? You're going to draw 10, you get to keep 5. And so between the two, you can decide which of the 5 you want to keep. Neither of you have seen the cards beforehand. Tolu's played the game before, so she's maybe seen some of them beforehand, but maybe not. You don't know which cards you're going to draw, but you get to decide which 5 you want to keep. You might already have some ideas about books that you would like to use for those. And then once you have selected your 5, I'm going to let you start to come up with books, and you're going to share with each other the books that you choose. Now, for each card, you don't both need to have a book. It doesn't require both of you to have. Only one of you needs to have it for each card. If you do both have one, that is also fine. And you're going to talk a little bit about why that book feels like it matters to you in terms of the prompt on that card. Any questions before we get into the game?
It doesn't have to be a book that we actually own, right? Like we can just pick anything randomly that we've read ever.
Yeah, you don't have to own it. You literally, I don't even know that you have to have read it. Some of them have prompts where you don't have to have read it even. And
Okay.
also, like, let's be real. If you lie, no one will know.
This is true. And then I could just read it after the fact before this comes out, right? And then defend my... Sounds good.
Exactly. Yeah.
There we
exactly.
go. Yes.
What's your team name going to be, guys?
Tolu. What should our team name be?
I like how you start speaking and then you send me the question. What should our team name be? Seth's faves.
Seth's faves.
Yep. Seth's faves.
Oh, well. That's great. What if everyone chooses that for every episode of the show that we ever do? You know how you guys know that you're the faves, though? Because you were the
We're
first.
the first. Exactly why we're
Right.
the
I
first.
feel like,
Yeah.
yeah, we have the evidence.
Yes, we do.
Seth's number ones, plural.
Oh, that could work.
Numbers 1.
There we go. All right, let's start the game. All right, you have 10 cards. A book you haven't read by an author you love. A book that you would choose for a book club. A book that's related to some part of your family history. A book you feel like you should have read by now, but never have. A book that you think deserves a sequel, but doesn't have one. A book you like by an author you don't. A book you've read during a significant life event. A book that makes you think of your adolescence. A book that has a title you'd use as a curse for an enemy. And a book that made you root for the villain.
So now we have to pick 5. We have
Yeah,
to pick 5.
between the two. And I can scroll back through.
Okay. I like the major life event one, Tolu. That one, I feel like I had an idea for that. If you're okay with that one.
Of course. I liked the first one as well. A book by an author you like that you haven't read. Was it that one? Yeah. I think that one is easy because I already have my answer.
Perfect.
Let me see. What else did we have? I was thinking about the one that'll be a curse for an enemy, but I realized what I had in mind is not a book, as a poem, so it doesn't work.
We've still
Is it
got.
within another book? Is it within a book?
I
The poem?
actually can't remember. I'll check.
Okay. Keep scrolling, Seth.
So you've got
Let's see
book
what other
you'd choose
ones we
for a
have.
book club, related to some part of your family history.
Oh, I like this. I like related to family history. I think that's nice. I think I have an idea.
What do you think, Tolu? You down for that?
Sure. I might not
Okay.
have an answer, but she does, so we're good, and we are a team because
Great.
we're Seth's numbers one.
Exactly.
We are a team.
Exactly.
Numbers 1.
2 more choices. So we had earlier what you would choose for a book club, book you feel like you should have read by now but never have, think deserves a sequel but doesn't have one, book you like by an author you don't, think of your adolescence, curse for an enemy, root for the villain.
Sequel but doesn't have one. I could probably think of one, but I think that would be fun to me. Like a fun one to discuss. I don't know how you feel about that, Tolu.
Yeah, I'm good with that. And then we have one more, yeah. One that I
Yeah,
have
you get one
already.
more.
One that I have already answered to is probably the book club one. One that I would have
Yeah.
liked to explore is either the one about the curse or the one about somebody I don't like, because it's I don't know that I know enough authors I don't like. And so that would be an interesting one to explore.
Book you like by author you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's try that one.
Let's
Let's
try
try.
it. I think that would be a nice
We'll
challenge.
explore it. Yeah.
I feel like for many people, there is an easy, ready answer to this
Yeah.
one.
No.
Oh,
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm so
All
curious
right.
We'll
now.
tell you when we get to that
I'm
one.
pretty sure.
Okay.
And when we
Okay.
say it, you're gonna be like, oh
You'll
yeah.
be like, oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay. We are starting the game. You don't have to do these in any particular order. So what you've got is a book you haven't read by an author you love, a book related to some part of your family history, a book you think deserves a sequel but doesn't have one, a book you like by an author you don't, and a book you've read during a significant life event. So I know one of you mentioned there was one that you already had like a ready answer for.
Oh, the one I was thinking of was the book I haven't read by an author that I like. Yeah, not that one. The first book you
Book
haven't
you
read
haven't
by an
read by
author
an
you
author
love.
you
Mhm.
love.
Yeah, very easy one. Actually calls back to what I had said. So Hanif, I love him right about now, but I've only officially read one of his books, and the next one on my list is actually the one you mentioned, Aditi. There's always this year. That's on my list to read for multiple reasons. All of them I've mentioned. One, I just love his writing voice. Two, comes highly recommended by way too many people. When I was at the bookshop I mentioned, everybody was like, "Have you read this one?" I'm like, "No, I haven't yet, but it's on my list." So there's that. And of course, Aditi just told me she loves it too. So that's a book that I want to read by an author that I do like.
I love that. I enjoy, there should be a name for this. I'm sure in Japanese there's the word, because there's always a word where it's like the joy while you anticipate someone reading a book that you love.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
I feel that a lot
the
for
joy of
shows as well.
anticipation, anticipatory joy.
Yep.
Yeah, like you're gonna love it. I'm so excited for you. That's how I feel for you
I know
in
this is
this
not a
one.
book, but I will mention. So I watched the show Slow Horses, and it's such
I
a
love
good
Slow Horses
show.
too. Oh,
I think we're
so good.
destined to be friends. I'll come find you after.
Clearly,
But
that's numbers one
yeah, I know,
for
right?
sure.
I was telling my older sister about it. I'm like, oh my God, season 5 is out. I just binge watched it. Have you watched it yet? And she's like, I've actually never watched Slow Horses. And I'm like, hold up, you've never what? And I felt kind of jealous because I'm like, I can't believe somebody's about to experience this for the first time on all 5 seasons at once. I wish I was you. So I get that feeling for shows and for books as well.
I think these are books. They're based off of
They
books,
are,
Tolu.
they
So like
are,
this is about
they
books at
are,
the end of the day.
yes.
I've not read the books. My brother has, and that's why I feel like this show is so good though, because everything has a beginning, middle, end, and it's just
Yes,
tied together, which excellent books do tie
I
together.
love it.
Okay, amazing.
You've got that one scored. Aditi, do
I
you have a book that you had in mind for this one?
think I do. I want to leave it at Tolu's score. Can we come back to it if we had time? If we wanted to think about it later, we got to move on.
Oh,
How do you
no,
prefer?
nobody's rushing anything. For the record,
Okay.
I literally held that book in my hands in a used bookstore in Chicago last week and ended up putting it back on the shelf and not buying it. And now I'm regretting
Shame,
that.
shame,
Regretting that. Regretting.
shame.
You had to have this conversation to
Yep.
go.
Oh, I know. We'll figure it out. All right. We got 4 more. Book related to some part of your family history. Book you think deserves a sequel but doesn't have one. Book you like by an author you don't. And a book you've read during a significant life event.
I picked the family history one, so I can go. I can share. The book that immediately came to my mind is The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri, which was like, I just have this very visceral memory of reading that book in 11th grade, and it was like for my AP English lit class, we got to select our own book after all the testing was done. And all my like adolescents in class were always reading about these white characters and identity of all these white characters. And I got to choose this book it was about Indian immigrants and the first gen experience and having a name that's complicated that people can't pronounce counts and all these things that just made me feel so seen. And book, it just really shed light the way that Lahiri describes the parents in that book. And I remember having so many questions for my parents as a result of that, or like being able to vividly imagine their lives when they immigrated to the States. Things like making Indian food with American ingredients or like non-Indian ingredients and trying to pulse that together, like their first winters in the Midwest. And yeah, it just it made me feel really seen. And I still think about this book, some of the Jhumpa Lahiri's short stories too, just really beautiful writing, but one of those like first times I felt seen in a book so much. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah,
Really
I really
lovely.
like that.
And now Mira Nair, who directed the movie, her son is the mayor of New York City. So we're seen here.
I didn't realize that
love
they
it.
had made a movie of it.
Oh, it's so good. It's
Really?
Cal Penn is Gogol, and it's so beautifully done. It's actually, I love this movie so much too. Yeah, that and Tolu, if you haven't seen it, it's a beautiful movie.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll find
it was
it.
like 2008 or something. Came out a while ago. Yeah.
I think I'll read the book first, though. I'm on this mission to,
Yeah.
if I can read the book first.
Yeah.
Side notes, Stephen King, who's an author that I absolutely love, he has this book called The Long Walk, and it was one of the books he wrote when he was Richard Bachman as his pseudonym. And the movie just came out. And I haven't read that book in a while. I own the book, but it's in Lagos. But I knew I was going to watch the movie, and I gave myself a goal. On a Friday, I went to look for the book in a bookstore. I got it. I read the book between Friday and Tuesday, so that on Tuesday, when we went to watch the movie, I could be that insufferable person that says, "That's not how it was done in the books."
I
Loved it.
like the book
Exactly. I was like,
better.
the book did it so much better. But yeah. So I'll read the book first, and then I'll
Fantastic.
watch the movie.
It's a great book. Really great book. All right. With that, 2 cards down. We've still got a book you think deserves a sequel but doesn't have one, a book you like by an author you don't, and a book you've read during a significant life event.
I'm looking at my bookshelf for inspiration for this one.
Aditi, should we drop the spoiler on a book you like by an author you don't? Aside from the fact
totally.
that I think,
Yeah.
honestly, there's almost like all of the Western canon. There's a decent chance you could
totally.
pick.
What's the problem?
Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot already
So
in
we
there.
shouldn't throw the only woman under the bus, but I think Seth was probably thinking what I was thinking, which is J.K. Rowling and the hardship she's caused the millennial generation. Yeah.
Of course.
It's the J.K. Rowling memorial card.
Yeah. I agree. I'm on the same page with you.
But we won't use that for this one, just because
It's
we
easy.
can. It's up to you. It's up to you guys. This is your game. I'm just attaching the images.
I will say, yeah, I mean, I'm not like really questioning my like feminism when I throw another woman under the bus, but I read Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, like when it came out, and it was before Normal People, so I didn't really know her. I like picked up this book, and I thought it was really well done. It, like to your point earlier, Tolu, about that person that got it wrong on Gen Z Talk by Millennial or something, I thought she got it really right. I'm like, this was an interesting story, and then every single book after that was like the same book, and so I just got tired maybe of Sally Rooney or like that style of writing, kind of like girls maybe in the same vein. Anyways, I like Conversation with Friends. I don't love Sally Rooney, and she's not someone that I would go and say like so excited for the next book that Sally Rooney comes out with. But so I guess that's no fault, just style fatigue, I guess.
She landed on your radar. She got there early.
I know. I don't know why. I feel like this, you know what? Maybe it was this yellow cover. Like I said about that other book that had a yellow cover. I don't know. I was kind of read her when she was blowing up. I read that book and it was a good book. And I don't know. I have no idea how she ended up on her reader. Because I'm not cool. I don't know things early.
I haven't read her, but I have watched I think I've seen Normal People. Is that the one that has a show?
Hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. They're just some books that when I think about the genre of them, I just never, it doesn't cross my mind to read them. But I will watch them
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they're quicker to go through. And this is in that general genre. No hate, just no preference for it. And I think it's okay to not like things by women. Doesn't make you less of a feminist. It's just
No, I know. I was
just don't like it.
Thank you,
We
Tolu.
just don't like
We're
it.
allowed. We're
Yeah.
allowed.
The problem
Yeah.
is more if you categorically don't like things by women.
True. True.
Hey, Tolu, do you want to throw in an entry on this one? Or are we good to let it ride?
Think about it, because I'm actually pressed to think of somebody that I don't like I will then read their book. But now you're challenging me. I
Yeah.
have to look for somebody. I'm like, I need to find a book by somebody
We'll
that I
let you
don't
we'll let you
like.
let it hang out in the back of your mind for a little bit.
Yeah.
By the way, scoring your third card, you've crossed over into the positive points threshold. You've wiped out your point that you take on when you draw the first 5.
Yay.
Positive points.
Positive
That's
points.
numbers
I
one.
didn't realize we were in debt. How American of me.
Oh.
I didn't know I was in debt.
We trick you like that. We make you think that no strings attached, but actually you were in debt until this very moment. We have 2 cards left.
Oh, no.
We've got a book you've read during a significant life event and a book that does not have a sequel that you think deserves one. And for a significant life event, both of you could just try and remember what book you were reading when you met me.
I met you. No, I had 2 here, but I've been talking a lot. But I'll share Tolu while you think. I had 2 ideas for this one. First one was not about you, second one was. Fair, the first, whatever. I chose this card because I was thinking of, I went through, I dated someone for like 6 years and then we broke up, and it was a hard breakup for me. But it also was actually accelerated my reading like tenfold. I just got real, I'm like, I'm going to read everything. I'm going to read my way through this heartbreak.
More breakups,
And one of
please.
the books that I read, yeah, no, for real, actually. That's a gift. The gift you didn't know. I read Michael Pollan's How to Change Your Mind, The New Science of Psychedelics, giant like gospel Bible on psychedelic drugs. And I got so into like mushrooms and like what do mushrooms have to tell us, and like what is the experience of that. And I just, that book to me will always remind me of that time. And it was really interesting and transformative. So I like that book. But the book When I Met Seth also changed my life. Not when we met, but when we started working together, we separately picked up this book, Tomorrow, which is about gamers. Totally maybe this game. It's about a duo, man and woman, who are constructing a game together, and their creative partnership. And Seth and I were literally trying to do a game-based learning experience for kids and building this product. And we both were like, hey, I'm reading this book. This kind of reminds me of what we're doing. And so it was so fun to like, will always remind me of Future Shock and our building time together too.
So I
my
think I
2
can
life
plus
events.
1,000 on tomorrow for 2 reasons. Like one, I Seth, I think you have the credit for this one as well, because you told me about it, no? You were the one that told me about it first. And I read
So
it
this is a
just as
direct line because Aditi said that
oh,
we both started reading it at the same time, which is not true. I
okay.
had heard about it. It was high on my list. Aditi read it and handed her copy
Oh,
off to me. I read
that's
it,
right.
And then
and
you
then
told
I read
me.
it and told you.
I read it and I loved it and I couldn't stop talking about it for the longest time. But it actually ties to a life event because it was just shortly after I moved to Toronto. And I think it's probably the first book I finished after I moved to Toronto, if I'm not misrepresenting that. But even better, fast forward a couple of months later, and she comes to Toronto and does like a book reading and a session. And I see her live and she's talking about tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. And I'm like, oh my God, best thing ever. So there was that. But I was also thinking about the Book of the Night Women by Marlon James. And funny enough, it has to do with moves eventually, because this was one of the first books I read when I moved to Mauritius. And I don't know. I really enjoyed that book. It doesn't have any connection to Mauritius, but it was one of the books that really reminded me of why I liked reading. It's written about, I think it's the slave times in, I want to say Haiti or Jamaica. I forget. Forgive me. But I remember that they were speaking, I think it was Jamaica, because I think it was Jamaican Creole they were speaking in part of the book. And I don't know if he does the language justice, but I know that it was so well written that at some point I had convinced myself that I was thinking and I could speak Jamaican Creole. But the story, the writing is so beautifully done. It's a book that I bought for almost everybody at some point. I was like, you have to read this book. It is so good. But it reminds me of my move to Mauritius and being very, like, rediscovering my love for reading and feeling very grounded in a new place because of the book.
I love
Gosh.
that. I didn't know that connect. Yes, that's so fun. The connection for the tomorrow.
Last card. A book you think
Deserves
deserves
a
a sequel?
So actually, your description of the Night Woman Tolu reminded me of Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi.
It's
I don't know
so
if you ever
good.
read
I
that book.
have. It's such a good
It's
book.
it's so good, and I like remember how much I loved that book when I read it, and it was one of I'm never like this should be a movie, but I that was one of the books where I was like, oh, I could totally see this being a beautiful, like long epic. And I when you mentioned The Night Woman, I was like, not like a sequel, but like another attempt, maybe with a different story, but in the same form. You know, if that makes sense, like this family elegy over a long period of time. Pachinko, I guess. I would love to see like a homegoing sequel and just like taken down that narrative again of like family by family, generation by generation. That came up for me. Also, my favorite book ever that I read every single year is The Phantom Tollbooth. And I just don't know if you could make a sequel out of that, but I would go on that story journey any day. So those are the two that came up for me.
Never heard of that one. I'm definitely going to check it out. None is coming to mind, but I feel like I'll have more examples of books that should have stopped at one book than being a sequel. That I have books
Go
that
ahead, lay 'em.
That could be our card. Books that should have stopped.
Yeah. So this one I actually feel like a proper hater for because she's Nigerian and I really do want to support Nigerian women, but I really don't like the book. What's it called? The Book of Blood and Bone, Children of Blood and Bone.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the reason I don't like it is because I'm Nigerian. I think I'm too close to the source material and I don't think it did as much justice to end up being what feels like the poster child for good Nigerian and Yoruba lore, which is my culture, my tribe. And so just reading the book, I wasn't happy with it. I do know a lot of non-Nigerians who love it because I think it does a really good job of telling a story about this lady who comes into her powers and realize she's part of or connected to the Orishas, who are, our equivalent of a Zeus or Poseidon or who have you, the Greek gods. But yeah, I just thought it could have been stronger, better. It could have represented us so much more. And so I have this thing about it. And to think that it has multiple other books, I'm like, why? One book was enough. Let's stop it now. So that's one that immediately came to mind.
Speaking as a
I totally get that sentiment
non-Nigerian,
though. Oh yeah.
I also did not like it.
Okay.
And I hear everything that you're saying. I think the biggest thing for me is I can't get into books where it feels as I'm reading them that the author was writing it with their eye towards optioning it for a movie already.
Yes.
And that's how
Yeah.
that book felt to me.
And
That felt to you.
yeah, and I think I don't know that I think she already had some options out for that because the beginning had a lot of promise and somewhere towards the early middle it just starts falling off for me
From the
and it
time that
just
it
never
had the
comes
most
back.
awkward sex scene ever committed to the page.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be my book.
Sorry, Aditi, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying that like that feeling that you feel like you're supposed to like it because of some cultural connection.
Mhm.
That's how I felt. It reminded me of Arundhati Roy and God of Small Things, which I like. And I like her writing sometimes, but I
Mm.
feel like I must love everything she writes because of like the connect, like this cultural representation and whatever. But I'm like, I don't love this was not the favorite book that I wanted it to be. So like I get that.
Speaking of books, though, something I was thinking of just now is there are some books that are not my book, but they're not my thing. I most likely won't recommend them, but I enjoyed them because they felt authentic to the writer. I don't know how to explain this. Like this is actually the person's voice and they do write well. I just can't really connect with the story they're telling or something that they're saying, but I can appreciate the process and their craft. And I feel like Aditi Roy is one of those people for me where I don't know, I get the story she's telling, I can't necessarily connect to it, but I appreciate her as a writer. And I will still read her books from almost from a scholarly way of here is what finding your voice and potential good writing could look like, but I don't really get the story kind of situation.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
first that it's like this is good writing.
Yes.
I know it's good writing, but like I'm not going to stay awake until 1 a.m. until try and finish this. No, I totally that's real.
Agreed. Cool.
That's real.
Love it.
Nice.
Okay. With that, round complete. I would love to be able
We
to go back
won!
and
We did
actually
it,
review all of these. Let's see if we can remember what our 5 books were. So, book that you think deserves a sequel but doesn't have one, we went with Homegoing and said more like something in the same genre. A book that you read during a significant life event, we had lots of candidates. We went with Tomorrow and Tomorrow.
Yes.
A book you like by an author you don't, we went with Conversations. Which one is which? It's the
With
Sally
friends.
Rooney.
Conversations with friends.
I was about to say
Yeah.
Conversations with Ordinary People, and I was like, that's not it. Conversations with Friends, Sally Rooney.
That's the sequel. The sequel need to be made.
That doesn't need to be made. Book that we would choose for book club, was that the Hanif Abdurraqib?
No, that was a book by an author you love but you haven't read yet.
That's right.
There's always this year.
That's right.
There's always this year by Hanif
It was
Abdurraqib.
always this year. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we had the book club pick, right? Was that the 5th
We didn't
category?
do a book club pick. What was the last one?
No, we didn't.
No,
Okay, let me
it was
see.
life of
That was
Life
tomorrow.
Event.
Tomorrow.
and we did
Tomorrow.
Namesake.
Wasn't? No, the one that's
Oh,
tied
it's
to
Tomorrow,
culture,
Family
your
history.
history, family
Fam-
history. It was
Family
family
history.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. I'm going to redesign the software so that it will allow me to see. Oh, look, it does let me see. Oh, no.
No, it doesn't.
It'd be great if I could go back. Okay, there
Family
you
history
go.
one was the namesake, though. I
The
don't think we
Namesake.
mentioned it, but yeah.
All
It was the
right.
namesake. Yay.
Outstanding. And that means that the two of you have won this round of Read Me Like a Book.
Success.
Has this
Congratulations.
never remained number one?
That's right. Now, I don't know that this will be true in every round, but there is a prize that everybody gets when they win Read Me Like a Book. But I think you guys might also get a bonus prize, which is that you've made a lifelong friend. But the prize that
Tolu,
you
for
get
sure.
for winning the round is each of you gets to add a card to the Read Me Like a Book deck. So if you've got a card that you want to add, I'm going to add it in.
I mean, I'll definitely take the one that I said that was a rejig of that you think have sickles that should have stopped at book 1. Anyone for you, Aditi?
Gotcha.
I know that one was really good. I don't read series books. I know Seth and now I think you do too. So I'm like that. I rarely run into that. Want to think of something better, but we did talk a lot about the book movie crossover and some kind of books that should have never been a movie, or like book that was something about the book movie crossover.
Maybe one that
a
like
book that should be a movie.
a book
Should have never been a
that
movie.
a book that the movie did it justice or something, like something that one
Mm,
where the movie or the TV show actually enhanced the book. I don't know. That could be one as well because I
Yeah.
want to find more of those.
What do you think, Aditi? Is that what you want to put your stamp on?
No, I want to think about it a little more and send you my answer because that's who
Okay.
I am.
Deal. I'm down for that.
Blank check deck. Okay.
Sounds good. With that,
Okay.
then, this has been the inaugural episode of the Read Me Like a Book podcast. I want to thank both of you for joining me for this. I hope I had a blast. I don't know if you did. You might regret this for the rest of your lives.